morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the second Sunday in January. You know, last Sunday we wrote on our white stones the quality we wanted to bring into the world this next year. But you know what? After all of that meditation, all of that thought that went into the word on your white stone, you know what you really could have written? One word. Guess what that would be? Love. Love, of course. Because all you need is love, right? We're going to affirm that in song today, so by our gurus, the Beatles. So, yeah, ready? Nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Nothing you can know that can't be known. Nothing you can see that isn't shown. Nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. 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 She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. All you need is love is exactly right. Good morning and welcome to those of you that are here and on our worldwide online community to Unity Spiritual Center Spokane, where we are all about our mission of transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. My name is Jeff Hunter, and I will be your platform assistant this morning. And at this moment, if you would please remember to silence your cell phones, it would be greatly appreciated. Oh, there's more crap up here. As always, we want to begin our time together by sharing our opening affirmation. I will say it once and then ask you to repeat it with me. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. Together, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, one life living through and as each one of us. This morning's message from our spiritual leader, Reverend Barnard, is moving from me to we. Our music will be led by Reverend Jan Kraft and our accompanist, Greg Tenold. Now please welcome our chaplain, David Lineweber, with our reading and opening prayer.
Good morning to everyone here and online. You may believe that there is a cosmic force that acts upon you, that guides you, that heals you. This is the established religious view, but in the principle of unity, which the physicist has set forth, you are not simply the creation of God, molded and shaped and set out on the path of life down here. You are the force of presence, or God expressing itself as you, and you have no existence outside of that force or presence or God. Let us pray together. Knowing that all there is God, everything is made of God's stuff, then by nature there is no separation. I am of God. Each of us hearing the sound of my voice is of God. God is all there is. All, total, complete, only. As this is true, I know that God is speaking today through Reverend Bonnie, singing today through Jan and the musicians, listening through the ears of everyone in the sanctuary and online. God the good is on this playing field, expressing, receiving, giving, and loving. Knowing this to be true, I let go of my week and my morning and come to present into this sacred moment with a grateful and open heart. I give thanks that God is here now as each of us. I bless our time together, and I release this prayer knowing that it is fulfilled and done. And so it is. Amen.
Yeah, baby. We're gonna bless our world. We're gonna bless each person one by one. We're gonna raise our consciousness till everyone's set free. Oh, don't you know it's time we bless our world and let the wounds of time dissolve in kindness. Bless your neighbor now, give him space to breathe. We're gonna bless the Christians, we're gonna bless the Muslims, we're gonna bless the Hindus and the Buddhists and the Jews. Oh, don't you know we're gonna bless the fundamentalists, bless the atheists, we're gonna bless all people now, give him space to breathe. Oh, we're gonna bless our country, bless our enemies, we're gonna bless all nations now, give him space to breathe. Oh, don't you know it's time we bless politicians, bless musicians, we're gonna bless all people now, give him space to breathe. We're gonna bless the children, bless neighbors' children, bless the elderly and give them space to breathe. Oh, don't you know it's time we bless the Caucasians, Arabs, blacks and Transylvanians, bless all races now, give them space to breathe. We're gonna bless our world, we're gonna bless each person one by one. We're gonna raise our consciousness till everyone's set free. Oh, don't you know it's time we bless our world and let the wounds of time dissolve in kindness. Bless your neighbor now, give him space to breathe. Bless your neighbor now, give him space to breathe. Bless your neighbor now and give him space to breathe.
Good morning. Good morning. That video was done by Greg over here. I absolutely love being in the presence of talent, right? It's so beautiful. So I want to welcome, on behalf of Unity Spiritual Center Spokane, all of you in the sanctuary and all of you online today. Just for a bit of trivia information, we had as many people last week joining in online at the time of the service as we did in the sanctuary. And so I just never forget how much our world is changing and how we have the opportunity to love it. And so it's like we've got a whole second service going in the first service. Like, isn't that miraculous? And we have friends we can't see, but we can feel. And we have a community that we're inviting to come to the center anytime they're in town so that we have an opportunity to connect with others who vibrate with us. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. So today my topic is moving from me to we, but I'm going to mess it up a little bit and really talk about we first and me second. So last week we spoke of the white stone ceremony, and I want to return to that. But first of all, I want to talk about the collective consciousness and who we are as we come together. So how many of you have seen any of the Avatar movies? Okay, this photo comes from the Avatar movie, and the part that I loved the most in that movie is when the Na'vi, which is translated into wisdom people, when they would take their tails and hook it up to the tree of life and receive the life force energy. And then in the second movie, they are putting their tails into this beautiful underwater fauna that is just delightful, and you can just feel that exchange of energy. Well, it is my belief that that's what we're doing here on Sunday mornings. It is my belief that we are coming together with our invisible tails or our open hearts, and we're recognizing that the presence of God is not only here in the sanctuary, but it's here inside of each one of us. And so we're connecting with that divine presence, and while we're connecting, we're doing things. So we're listening to a talk right now. We are singing music. We are listening to music being sung. We are praying. We are doing activities, but what is happening in consciousness and what the hidden agenda is our tails are plugged in to each other, to this field that we can feel so fully, to our community online, and to the divine presence of God, the only thing that is. So I was thinking about this on my walk yesterday, and I was realizing that there is no place on this planet, on this earth, that I would rather be than right here and right now. This is where I want to be. I don't want to be in Hawaii, in Arizona, in Bali, in any other country or city, and I don't want to be in bed. I want to be right here and right now in this space with you. And I ask why, and it is because this is the time that we come together remembering and tapping in to that field of the only thing that is. And it's that opportunity for us to experience our own world together. And then throughout the week, go into the world. So we started last week with our stone, and now we're saying, let's just give ourselves a minute to realize what's going on here, what's happening in the collective consciousness. I would appreciate it if you turn to someone near you and say, I'm glad to be here and thank you for being here. And then after service today, after service, we've got this great barista and this hangout place and food and kids running around and all of this good stuff going on, so I do invite you to stay. Here's a quote from Reverend Michael Beckwith, and I'm going to read it, and you may be able to see it on the screen and you may not, but it doesn't matter because you're going to receive it. Here it is. We are electromagnetic beings. Every thought is electric and every feeling is magnetic. Therefore, you are an electromagnetic field that is broadcasting through thought and feeling. You are holding in consciousness a field of vibration that is matched by universal law. Therefore, you can walk in this world as an electromagnetic field of oneness and celebration that will be matched by universal presence and universal law, so that you will not be a victim of circumstances or situations because you are not living there. You will be living in an electromagnetic field of the quantum reality that God is everywhere, and you will be receptive to the blessings that are happening through and as you. So each one of us is our own field. As I walk through Spokane, I bring my field with me, as do each one of you. When we hook up with another person or other peoples together, we experience a collective field between us. And so companies are fields. We are a field here. Trader Joe's is a field. I love walking into Trader Joe's. And when I do, I experience a field of joyful music and people wearing loud clothes, loud shirts, and running around and being of service. And it just feels like this whole experience, and I can count on that field and I can tap into it if I choose to. The military is a field. Schools are fields. Anytime people come together with shared intent or with unconscious intent, a field is created temporarily or permanently. So Marianne Williamson says that as lovers, that we are to bring to love the same level of commitment that a soldier does in a foxhole. We are to show up with such strong commitment that we bring that divine presence of love wherever we go. And that is a beautiful order, a tall order. So we have our individual field, we have our collective shared field here, and then we have got the only thing that is, and that is the divine unified field of God. And so as each one of us does our spiritual practices, our field here increases in vibration. Right? Okay. So I want to talk about this sanctuary here, this portal that we're sitting in. So not only are we a field that we co-create together, and this month's overall umbrella topic for talks is co-creating with life. So not only are we doing that here, but this sanctuary has really blessed sacred energy. How many of you guys have felt it? Yeah, and I have felt it watching online, so I know that's possible as well. What I did is I went back and looked at and made up how many times I think there have been prayers spoken in this room. And we've been here almost 50 years. And we've had one service, and there's been multiple services throughout those years. So if we take only 5 people after each service coming up to the front and praying with chaplains, then there's been 20,000 prayers in this room. Okay? Then we add to that the prayers that have been done in classes. We add to that the prayers from the pulpit. We add from that prayers of offering over the offering during the service. We add to that weddings, we add to that celebrations of life, we add to all of the prayers, and I would guess we've gone over 50,000 prayers in this room from the time of its inception. This is a holy space. And what each one of us has is the opportunity when we walk into this room, no matter where we're coming from in the world, to take a breath and to access that. Because just like a wok that has all of the spices on the side, this room has got all of the prayers in the walls. So this truly is a holy space. So last week we all came together and we had our white stone and we claimed our new selves, right? And then we made this really bold and audacious statement, and I believe it. Is that what it was, Al? I really mean it. I was going to say, he's better at it than I am, and it's my story. Okay, so we go, and I really mean it. So, with that, I would imagine that a good portion of you have had a really rough week. That I would imagine that there's been some health issues that have come up. I would imagine there's been some relationship stuff that's happened. I would imagine there's been some brewing going on. And that is what Unity calls the chemicalization process. So what has happened is that we have put a stick in the ground and said, I am going to become a new self. This is who I'm claiming to be. Karen Dunmore told us that that white stone means we're writing the nature or the name of God on that stone to become us. That is a big sacred deal in the field of God. We claimed a new self, and then guess what? This is what Emma Curtis Hopkins says. She says that, and Emma Curtis Hopkins was the teacher to the Fillmores, to Ernest Holmes. She was the teacher of all teachers in New Thought. And she said, you will notice that the instant you acknowledge that there is a good, and she calls good God, she interchanges those all the time. So you will notice that the instant you acknowledge that there is a good or a God for you, which you ought to have, the thought arises within your mind that you do not have that good that belongs to you. Okay? This is a universal feeling. Every man, woman, child, stone, stick, and snail feels that its good is somewhere else than in it or with it. This is known as the conviction of absence. So we claim our good, and then all we see is we don't have it. That's the way our consciousness works. We see that gap. And that's the opportunity to give up and say, forget it, I'm out, and walk away. Or that's the opportunity to say, it's time I rise, and to engage in the practices that we're called to practice. So I consider this to be like a game of tag. You're it, right? So God puts a desire in our heart, and we say, I'm going to put it on a white stone, and we write it on a white stone. And then we're all happy, and we have a few minutes of pure joy. And then the gap comes. And then we start seeing things outside of ourselves, and we interact with it, and we have a choice. Are we interacting from our new self, or are we interacting from the self before we wrote the word on the white stone? Where are we coming from? So the dance with the universe is that we say, tag, you're it, God, and then God says, tag, you're it, and we go back and forth, and we co-create our new self together. So remember that your good is seeking you just as you are seeking it. So there is only one of us here. This is where we start having what I would call a divided mind. We have who we have been and who we want to become. So Ernest Holmes and his brother Fenwick wrote a whole slew of books called Being and Becoming. I think Eric, is his last name Fromm, the therapist, also wrote a book on being and becoming. Okay? Yep, and then Emma Curtis Hopkins in the late 1800s wrote this book on being and becoming. It's we are and then we become, and there's a gap in between that being and that becoming. Okay? So Emma says and reminds us all the time that the good that we are seeking is seeking us, that it is a symbiotic relationship that is happening. God has planted a desire in our heart. We respond to that desire, and it goes back and forth until we realize we are one. Now, if we don't do our spiritual practice, we can get really sloppy and start to project our stuff on other people. If we don't realize that we're operating in a divided self, then we start thinking there's an enemy or something against us. When we are in this space of oneness and alignment, we understand that God is for us and there is absolutely nothing against us, because all there is God. So this gap or this division in our mind is a necessary part of the manifestation process of going from who we have been to who we're becoming. Now, I love these photos, and I hope you can see them. They're of a banyan tree in Kauai. When my friend and I went, we went to the Buddhist monastery, because that's what you do when you're in Hawaii, is you go and pray at the Buddhist monastery. So there we are under this beautiful banyan tree, meditating on being and becoming. And this is what Emma's prescription is for us during that gap period. Are you ready? She says, sit down a certain time every day and write down on paper what your idea of good is, what your idea of God is. So every day you're going to sit down and write about who you're becoming. Every day you're going to sit down and write about that word on your stone. You're going to have a written communication with good or God. She says, write the highest ideas that you can of the good that you desire. And then she says, and I love this, you cannot write a stroke higher than the slave's idea of good. And that's because we're writing from that smaller space to that bigger space. So every single day as we write the good that we know, we're expanding. Does that make sense? Okay, and she says, but you will find that such a practice will pin you down to the truth, and in the capital T truth, there is power. So we're in this together. The more that you and I do our spiritual work and uplift and expand our own vibration, our own consciousness, the more all of us benefit from it. We are not doing this solely for ourselves. We're doing it for our community and for humanity. So this week's affirmation, the first line comes from Emma. I'm going to ask that you say it after me. And she says, in the midst of this gap, there is no matter, all is spirit. Please say, there is no matter, all is spirit. And then, oh, don't go to the next one yet. I should have made 2 slides, sorry. So in the years of my spiritual counseling, what I came to realize is there's a very large percentage of our population that deep in their unconscious mind believes they don't matter. And I took a class from a sound healer once, and she has mapped out the whole field around us of consciousness. And so she could tell you the address in the field that this belief stands. It's really cool. And then she could take her tuning forks and go and take what she sees as a hole and mend it. So she's got this cool practice. But what she said is those of us who were raised by our parents in a period of time with Dr. Spock, he had trained parents to not listen to their children crying and to just let themselves cry themselves to sleep. He trained parents to not feed their children when they were hungry, but to put them on a schedule as to when they ate. So our little baby selves, if we were raised in this conditioning, came to believe that we could scream our little hearts out and ask for what we want unconsciously, and no one would respond. And the message that unconsciously created to an entire generation of people was that they don't matter. So what I like to say when I work with a client and I see that coming up, I have them affirm, I matter, I am spirit. So Whatever your word is you chose for last week, and I chose flourish. So I would say, I matter, I am spirit, therefore I flourish. Okay? Or therefore I experience joy, if that's your word. Or therefore the abundance of God is raining down on me. Whatever that sentence is or that word is for you. So we're going to start at the top and say, there is no matter, all there is spirit. I am matter, I am spirit, therefore. And we're going to say it like we mean it, right, Al? That's right. All right. So together, let's go. There is no matter, all is spirit. I am spirit, therefore I flourish. That was excellent. Good job. Good job. And I mean it. And I mean it. So I'm about to unveil what the theme is that I've selected for talks for 2023. Ooh. But before the unveiling, I just want to tell you a little bit about January, because this is a really potent and fabulous month. So last week we looked at our word and who we want to become. And today we're looking at our collective beingness together and who we can be and the field that we tap into and the awareness of why we come together. And then next week, I'm going to weave into my talk some stuff about Martin Luther King Jr. So I'm going to talk about who he became, where he went from being to becoming, who he became on the journey. Then Shad Groverland is coming on the 22nd. And he is the executive director of Unity Worldwide. He's the big guy. And I went online and heard him speak. He is absolutely riveting. He is sit at the end of your seat, great speaker. And he is going to be talking about his own journey in Unity and how he became who he became, which is lovely and fascinating and great. It is such a big deal that the North Church is closing down and they will be joining us that Sunday. So we're going to have a full house. We'll have a reception afterward. It'll be great. That's on the 22nd. Then on the 29th, I asked David McClure to come and speak about being and becoming the life of Eric Butterworth. And he knew Eric Butterworth. And so he's going to give us a talk on Eric and his journey. I am going to be at all of the services learning along with you. We're going to have special music each one of those Sundays. And then after service on the 29th, I'm going to facilitate the visioning process that was developed by Reverend Michael Barnard Beckwith of Agape. And we will be doing that from 11:30 to 12:30. Anyone who wants to stay. It's free, it's voluntary. If you want to come learn a new spiritual practice, we'll be doing it for 4 weeks in a row. And I invite you to come all 4 or any of the 4 that you can come. So let's hear a drum roll, you guys. All right, unveiling the theme for 2023. It is not multi-D in 23. I wanted multi-D in 23 because it meant we would talk about multi-dimensional living. And I ran it by a bunch of friends who said, nah. So it's not multi-D in 23. Let's hear the drum roll again. Whoops. Oops. It's unity in 23. And unity, of course, is the name for our movement. But sometimes when we hear a word over and over again, it gets stale. What I want to invite you to know is unity means that field that exists between us that we are developing together. This is a dynamic, active field that is always alive and can always be expanding. And so I'm inviting us, when we think of unity in 23, we're thinking of the expansive nature of God. So I'm about to lead us into meditation, and before I do, I want to share 2 sayings with you I heard this week. One is this odd or is it God? And then a friend of mine, yeah, right? Yes is the answer, or both. And then a friend of mine is moving into an apartment in LA, and you know, they're hard to get. And so she fell in love with this apartment, and she said, I just said to God, you know what's best for me? Bless it or block it. Bless it or block it. What's the highest for my good, God? Bless it or block it. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so we're going to enter into meditation together. I am going to speak Emma Curtis Hopkins' word out of her chapter on the presence of absence. And I'm going to ask you with your eyes closed to repeat after me. I believe it will take us quite deep. Then we will enter into silence together for 3 to 5 minutes. Yep. And then Gray will bring us out with the piano. So with your eyes closed, get centered. I'm going to ask you to repeat after me, but first of all, let's get in to our heart. Place your hand on your heart if you need to. And repeat after me. The good I am seeking is my God. My God is my life. The good I am seeking is my health. God is my health. The good I am seeking is my strength. God is my strength. The good I am seeking is my support. God is my support. The good I am seeking is my defense. God is my defense. Life is God. Truth is God. Love is God. Substance is God. Make sure to take a breath. And so we bring ourselves back into this moment, refreshed and remembering that at any time during the day, we can tap into the field of God that begins in our heart and emanates out from us, around us, between us. That we don't have to go anywhere to experience the presence of God, for it is right where we are. And yet we can come into this sacred, sacred sanctuary where over 50,000 prayers have been spoken. And we can sit in that energy where the walls remember all of those many times that the name Christ or God or love have been spoken. And we can allow that to lift us, remind us, expand us into the good of God that we are. And so for this and for the life that each one of us are living together, I do give thanks, and so it is. Amen.
To the heartbeat of the earth, one people. This is the land of my birth, one people. Listen to the birds up in the sky, one people.
All right, thank you, Jan and team. I love those headbands. Whoever came up with those Beatle headbands are my friends. I love that. So now's our time of giving, and we are still working on putting that video together. The video's done, but we're working at the technology to get it inserted so I can just talk to you here in the sanctuary and folks online get their own sweet message from me. But until that happens, which should be this month, I just want to invite those of you who are online and participating virtually to know that there's many ways that you can give. And one is you can text to donate at 509-215-2552. And another is you could go to our website, unityspokane.org, and there's a donate pull-down menu there, and our address is there. So if you want to mail a check, that works as well. So those of us here in the sanctuary, now it's our time to give. And what I love about Unity is it's a teaching of abundance, that everything we have is from God and of God, and this is our time that we get to return a portion of what we have to God through the center. So I invite you, if you have your little card, to hold it to your heart, if you have a check or money, to hold it to your heart, and if you feel like you're in that gap and can't feel your sufficiency and abundance right now, then I ask you to place your hand over your heart as well and to send a prayer for your own abundance and for our collective abundance together. And we say, I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. And so I give thanks for all of the gifts today in whatever form they came in, whether they were prayers or physical donations here in the center or bank withdrawals that automatically come out or individuals online or anonymous gifts. However they come, I just give thanks that the goodness and the glory of God continues to rain down upon each one of us individually and the center as a collective. I give thanks for the goodness and glory of God. I give thanks for an abundant and joy-filled life. And I give thanks that I am here this Sunday in the sanctuary right here and right now. And so it is. Amen.
I think we're very lucky to be here today, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. Unity's statement, I'm going to read it, but I'm going to ask today for you to read it along with me. And for those of you that are in the World Wide Web watching online, would you read it with me? Together. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is only one power, one presence, and one life. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey of transformation, you are welcome here. If there is anyone here for the first time today and you feel comfortable raising your hand, we'd love to say hello and offer you a free drink from our barista stand. Is there anybody here for the first time? All right, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Thank you. For those of you that are here, as well as those joining us online who are new to our ministry, we encourage you to sign up for our e-news to learn more about our upcoming workshops and events. You can sign up for our email newsletter by scanning the QR code you see on the screen, and they're around the center and they're also on our website at unityspokane.org. We would also like to connect with you on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search Unity Center Spokane to find us. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today, especially those of you that are at home. We really value you. Our chaplains today are Diane and Theodora, who have been holding the service in prayer for us today. Diane and Theodora, will you please stand?
Theodora's in Mexico, but she's holding it from...
Okay, good. Okay. Good for Theodora. All right. You go, girl. You go. Diane will be available to pray with you immediately following the service. So if you have something that's heavy on your heart or something that you'd like to celebrate, please come see Diane, who will be up here in the front of the sanctuary following the peace song. And thank you for your service today. And thank you to all the chaplains. We'd like to encourage anyone who is in need of prayer support to fill out a prayer request that is in the pocket in front of you. And it will be prayed upon and put it in our boxes. There's one here, our prayer boxes, and there's one out in the atrium. It'll be prayed on by our chaplains for 30 days here, and also sent on to Silent Unity, where it will be prayed for 30 days. Now, let's welcome Amber McKenzie for news you can use.
Jeff, good morning, everyone. We have a new way of doing things. So first of all, hopefully you received our order of service. These are going to be kind of half sheets every week now, so you kind of know the order. Some people really like that. They like to have it in their hands, which is good. And then on the back, we have upcoming events. So these are, ideally, it's not a lot of space, but we're going to try to kind of highlight all the things that are coming up. And then I'll just come up here and talk about the new stuff. Okay, does that sound like a good plan? Yeah. And then, of course, for those who want, it's important because we are also conscious of, being able to recycle these. So we'll have a recycle bin as you leave, and you can recycle it there, and I promise we'll make sure it gets recycled. Or you can take it with you and save it. Maybe put it in a scrapbook? That might be going too far. Okay, so we're really excited because the first thing we have up, thank you, Caleb, is we have a benefit concert for Unity coming up. Does that sound exciting to you? Let me tell you about it, because it is called Love is All Around. And this is going to be in the month of February. It's February 11th, so it's close to Valentine's Day. It's a Friday evening. And it is featuring, our first concert is featuring Via Blues and Jazz. And that is with our very own Heather Via. She's an amazing jazz blues singer. Who loves her? Who knows her? I love her. Yeah, she's amazing. So the band is actually going to be previewing their music next Sunday. So do not miss that Sunday because they will be here doing the live music, special music, and you can get a taste for what the concert will be like. But if those of you who know you want to buy tickets right this minute, you can. We have, can you go to the next slide, Caleb? We have a QR code up there. So if you want to pay with debit card or credit card, that is how I recommend you do it. If you want to pay with cash or check either today or next Sunday, we have a table set up in the back where we can take those payments and give you tickets. So if you want to buy tickets today, $30 per ticket. And again, remember, this is benefiting Unity Spiritual Center. So it is a fundraising event. So all proceeds go back to the center. And then we also have $50 VIP tickets. And that includes maybe some wine, maybe some nice seats in the front with your sweetie. So keep those things in mind and see us in the back afterwards or scan the QR code. I also have this. Will be around the center, so you can do that on your own if you want to pay with debit or credit card. Okay. Exciting stuff. And then, as Reverend Bonnie mentioned, Sunday, January 22nd, we have a very special guest speaker, and that is Shad Goverland. He is the Executive Director of Unity Worldwide. Kind of a big deal. So we're really excited to be welcoming him and hosting a reception afterwards. So we hope that you can all join us. Okay, and then finally, the Compassion in Action team and Juliet Inouye want to thank everyone who donated to help make the SFCC Food Pantry Drive a huge success. Huge success. She says the Workforce Food Pantry is fully stocked and has already helped numerous students. They are now able to access the pantry as needed. Before, there wasn't very much in there. I went over to check it out, and now it's full. So that is amazing. So much food was donated that now there is enough to also share with the 5 other pop-up food pantries located around SFCC campus. Many of my international students take advantage of that as well because they don't have a lot of extra money with inflation and the currency exchange rate. So for me, it's been a huge blessing to see my students benefit from it as well. And then there was $360 raised from all of you here that went to provide additional food and needed supplies. So much gratitude toward the Compassion in Action team for organizing the event and the landscape team who helped deliver everything. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful things going on here. All right, I think it's time for our kids. I think they have arrived. So let's welcome them with Walking in the Light. Wow, what a crowd we've got today. Yeah. This is it. I've always said this. You're going to hear it from me every time I'm up here. This is the building blocks of our center right here in front of you right now. These are the building blocks. And we're so happy and so blessed to have such an amazing youth ministry here at Unity Spiritual Center. Let's take a moment now to bless all of our young people, and especially those other people who work with the young people. And we really appreciate that. It is truly a gift from God. So let's bless them together with the children's blessing. Be the love you are, sing the song you hear, share your joy of life with people far and near. And for ourselves, be the love we are, sing the song we hear, share our joy of life with people far and near. And now, kids, find the flock that you came with. And now please stand if you are able and join together for our closing prayer for protection and the peace song. Together we affirm, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And that's the truth.